glaring light. Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome to, I guess our, I don't know, how many have we done now, Brian?
Since 2018, so
Since 2018, whatever the math is on that.
8 or 9, yeah.
Yeah, this is a great year for the Autism Resource Fair, and I appreciate you trekking over here. I know that parking was so hard today with the marathon, which we only found out about yesterday. So, so we're happy that you made it all the way out here because you have a very lovely experience ahead of you right now. I'm super excited. This is one of my favorite parts of the museum. And by the way, I'm Emily Daniels. I'm the director of the Fort Collins Autism Resource Fair, and it just gives me so much delight to have this museum be a place where we can celebrate all of the individuals that we know in our community and help families and individuals find resources and supports that they need, and just to celebrate each other because it's just great. These are my favorite people, so I'm happy to be here. Today we have 4 speakers, 3 in body and 1 on video, who are going to be sharing their experiences in different ways of how being on the autism spectrum has influenced them or contributed to their lives. They're extraordinarily talented people, extraordinarily bright people, and I'm a fan of all of them. Our second one is going to be on video, so there'll be like a little snippet there because she is at the Special Olympics today in Denver. This is her. She's doing the backstroke, I believe, and so she's too fast, so we had to let her go. But please feel free to ask questions if you have questions of folks at the end of each of their talks, and just enjoy everything. Today we have, to start with, we're going to have Riley Odell. Riley is a celebrated author who has written multiple books. I had thought just one. I have learned there are many, and they are for sale in the Woodward Gallery. Fantastic writer and interesting human being, and he's going to come and start us off. Riley, welcome.
Yes, hello. I'm Riley Odell. Yes, I am a writer. I've written several books. The one that's probably going to be of most interest to people here is this book, Divergent Realms. It's 14 stories about neurodivergent characters written by neurodivergent writers. Written by neurodivergent writers, 14 different writers. They're science fiction and fantasy stories, and I am selling that downstairs in the gallery along with some other books. So anyway, going to be talking about the hidden harms of empowering language. So the DSM-5 defines autism as being characterized by persistent deficits in social communication and social interaction across multiple contexts. While the word disability is not explicitly used, it is implicit in the words persistent deficits. In order for an individual to be eligible for an autism diagnosis, their symptoms must be sufficiently disabling to their everyday life, or else a diagnosis is essentially unnecessary. And from a legal standpoint, it's necessary for autism to be classified as a disability so that autistic people who are struggling can receive disability benefits from the government if they need them. All that said, many autistics and their loved ones have chosen to reject the disability label. Some may even be offended if you refer to autism in this way. If you're autistic or you're related to someone and have followed the discourse surrounding the condition, you've probably heard this before. Autism isn't a disability, it's a superpower. Or autism isn't a disability, it's a different ability. This empowering language is designed to counteract decades of autistic oppression. Just consider that the world's largest autism organization, Autism Speaks, holds the position that autism is something that needs to be cured, or that many parents are so afraid of autism they would rather risk their child dying of measles than end up like one of us because they bought into some quackery about vaccines. Or RFK Jr.'s fact-avoidant rant about how autism destroys families and autistic people are doomed to never succeed. It's only natural that in the face of all this, we should want to shift the conversation in a more positive direction. However, the dismissal of autism as a disability is an overcorrection, an example of the pendulum swinging too far in the opposite direction. I'll explain this with a story. A friend of mine has an autistic niece. This niece came to her one day in tears saying, "Everyone says that autism is a superpower, but I don't feel like I have a superpower. I'm really struggling." The popular concept of autism as a superpower had left this girl feeling left behind, like she was failing at something she was supposed to be able to do. Like everyone expected her to be Supergirl, but she couldn't figure out how to fly. Look at me as an example. I have a condition that occasionally occurs comorbidly with autism called intermittent explosive disorder. This causes me to experience sudden, uncontrollable bouts of rage disproportionate to the events that triggered them. Something that frequently happens is that I'll run up against a difficult boss in a video game, get my butt handed to me a few times, and I'll start screaming loud enough to be heard in the next star system. So let me ask you, what exactly is the superpower in this case? Say I run up against Doc Ock, am I going to just yell a bunch of curses at him and expect him to go away? There isn't any upside to it. I've been lucky that everyone I know is understanding, but a lot of people who have intermittent explosive disorder have significant difficulty forming relationships in their lives. Or consider that I have selective mutism, which essentially makes me cripplingly terrified of any and all social interaction with people that I don't know very well. Again, what is the superpower exactly? I mean, there's no different ability that's gained in exchange. Saying that autism is a superpower is like saying that being Superman is a superpower. Being Superman isn't a superpower. Superman has superpowers. In the same way, some autistic people might have extraordinary skills and talents enabled by their autism, but autism in and of itself can't be called a superpower when it can also be the cause of severe sensory problems, frequent meltdowns, and other issues which are by definition disabling. None of this is to say that all autistic people should be forced to accept the disability label. It all boils down to the level of disability faced by each individual. If a certain person considers autism to be an enabling rather than a disabling condition, then nobody has the right to tell them that they're disabled. But on the other hand, if someone is facing significant difficulties because of their autism, then no one has the right to tell them they're not disabled. I'm sure we can all agree that it wouldn't be right if someone said, "Hey, I'm really struggling with this because I'm autistic," and someone else replied, "That's ridiculous. Autism is a superpower. You must just not be trying hard enough." Yet this is precisely the message my friend's niece internalizes every time she hears autism being talked about like this, regardless of the intention. If it's a superpower and I can't do this, something's wrong with me. I must be stupid. I must be lazy. When in reality, her brain simply isn't designed for the specific challenges she's facing. Language has power, and since I'm talking about superheroes, I'll refer to that famous Spider-Man quote, "With great power comes great responsibility." We have to be careful with the things we say because words can have meanings we don't intend. A phrase meant to empower can have the opposite effect. We can talk about the benefits of being autistic while also acknowledging that for most people, most autistic people, it creates difficulties in areas of life that neurotypicals can navigate with ease. Superpower and disability do not have to be considered mutually exclusive. After all, even Superman is weak to kryptonite.
Mhm.